Hey folks, Kevin here. Well, it's September 24th, 2022, and I thought what I'd do is do a bit of a garden update today. It's been very cold lately. Today I think it's going to get up into the 50s, but yesterday right down around 40 degrees. Overnight it was 40 degrees Fahrenheit here last night, and it's just been a big change in the weather. And the season's winding down. But a couple of things I wanted to share with you. Number one, my brother Jim, who lives in Syracuse, he was gracious enough to contact one of his friends, Mr. Noel Baker, and Little Red, and they donated some pots. That's really beneficial, not just to us all right, so here we go. Here's Timmy down here trying to climb up on Dad again. So it's really gracious of Mr. Baker, Noel, and Little Red to donate the pots, and I do appreciate my brother Jim for going and picking up, and here's Timmy visiting me now, picking up the pots and all. It's beneficial in a couple of ways. Number one, we can use the pots, but also it helps to keep pots from going into a landfill. So if you're out there and go to the box store or pick up pots and all, before sending them to the landfill, check to see if they're recyclable. And also you could try and collect them up and find a nursery that could use them. So again, thank you Noel, and thank you Little Red, and thank you Jim. So before we go on out and take a look at the gardens, which there's not a lot to look at, I thought we'd take a sneak peek and take a look at what Thea's doing, because this morning we went out and we dug up some pawpaw root suckers. So pawpaw is a type of fruit tree that's probably not well known because they don't have a long shelf life, but they're a native plant for the northeastern United States in this area as well. And we have some pawpaw trees. But one of the characteristics of a pawpaw, they end up sending up root suckers. So as the tree develops and grows and its roots go on out rather superficial, some of them go superficial to the surface of the soil, and they'll just sprout up some new young trees right next to it. So I've been not mowing near them and waiting until we get to the cold weather and all. And so I just went out and dug a bunch of them up. Now a lot of them don't have much root on them, so we'll trim off the leaves, moisten the roots, make sure the roots stay nice and moist, and maybe add a little root hormone, put them in soil with mycorrhizal fungi. The mycorrhizal fungi act as an extension. They're spores for a fungal organism that acts as an extension to the root surface and surface area of the roots to help with the uptake of nutrients and water to the plant. So maybe we'll have a 50% success rate, who knows, but we thought we'd give this a shot. So let's go in the work area there, where she's actually in the coop. So we'll go in here and see. Here's some of the pots that were donated. Really beneficial. And some clay pots for Thea's indoor plants as well. Oh, and there's Mr. Quackers, the duck. The khaki Campbell duck on the floor over there. And here's my young bride, hard at work.
Hard at work, planted. Look, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 against the wall done.
Oh my God, she's amazing. So these are the pawpaw plants here, ones we just dug up. Some of them have roots, and Thea's going through the painstaking process of trimming off the excess leaves so they don't draw too much energy through transpiration. And the leaves would be falling off. That's probably good. Yeah, falling off at about this time of year. Use a little root hormone on the bare root. A little yeah. That's the mycorrhizal fungi right there in there, which are spores that will help to inoculate the root area and extend the surface area of the roots. So We'll let Thea get back to work and let her do what she does best.
We're mixing soil, so we have balanced nutrients.
Oh, she's so amazing.
And Quackers is keeping me company.
Quackers is nervous. It's okay. The pond is still pretty much dry out there, so we brought Quackers in early. And here's a couple of the pawpaws that she's got potted up so far. So we'll see how things work.
And we come over here, and we have a bucket of water left over from Quackers, because we don't waste any water around here. And once it's on the shelf, we give it a good douse of water.
Oh, that's wonderful, honey. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give them a garden tour now.
Okay.
So this is the work area in off season, so no seed trays up here yet. And again, thank you, Noel and Little Red and Jim. Okay, out to the western garden plot. Loaded with weeds. The gooseberry plants all along the margins here. You could actually see some bindweed out here. I probably won't get to doing the weeding that I should be doing this season and all. I may try and bring the mower in here and just knock down all of the material in here. But my goal was to try and get the thornless blackberry plants brought into this area and all. I still want to try and get the blueberry plants from out back, transplant those up into this garden, fill a couple spots here and fill up maybe 2 rows here. It depends on how many of them are still viable, because they weren't watered at all throughout the season and they had a rough go of it. These are the corkscrew or curly willows, which did fantastic, so I got to dig those up. Get these plants out of these 2 rows and start amending the soil. And so that's it in here. It would be nice to get some mulch on top of this cardboard before more weeds come up. And again, the bindweed around here is just, well, it's a pain in the fanny. It's more than a pain in the fanny, but I won't use the term that I usually use. So, I really haven't done the job that I usually do with the gardens, even when I'm working on major projects. But I was so committed to working on the roads this year. And fortunately, we've got the roads at a much better place, phase as I would like them to be. So let's take a look at the central garden plot here now. So it's probably been 7 weeks now, going on 8 weeks since I put these 2 beds in, the cover crops for these 2 beds. And so they're doing absolutely fantastic. This actually has, one of the things another benefit that I've noticed is the insect population has stayed down, the pests that I'm talking about. When it's dewy in the morning and the sun is out, you see all of our various spider cobwebs, which is really beneficial. Not as many in this bed over here as there is over there. And we have more of the birds coming and feeding on the insects as well. So these cover crops are sort of extending our integrated pest management throughout the season and all. So these are the 2 beds that I most recently planted. So there was a premier one, the premier kale in this bed, and the tomatoes in this bed. And you can see they're starting to take off. I think it's been just about 1 week now. And we've had morning dew, so I haven't had to water it for a couple of days. And here's the cover crops that I put in. Oh, I think 2 beds were onions. I can't remember, the blue flesh potatoes were in that bed over there. So far everything's, and one was the, all right, so this was the bed of the banana peppers. 2 beds of red onions here, tomatoes, Premier kale, and red Russian kale, and broccoli here. So probably these 2 beds will end up being our garlic and shallots in a few weeks. So towards the end of October, beginning of November is when I want to get the shallots and the garlic in the beds. Now I always put them, we always planted those up in the 3rd food forest, but the weeds got so out of control last year, and I've got so many projects on schedule for next year as well, that I won't be able to spend as much time as I'd like to in the gardens. So we decided, forget planting them up there. We'll expand our third food forest more. We'll be planting some more pawpaws to go up there, the persimmons. We already have plenty of apples, but we'll be putting more nitrogen fixing trees up there and putting more of the various other fruit trees that people just aren't used to seeing as much. So over here in the eastern garden plot now, and the bean tunnel, hopefully you could see some of the beans in here. So these are the scarlet red runner beans, and I have not seen the marmorated stink bugs over here in this bed. Now they probably are here, but they aren't in any numbers as they are with the red apples out back. This is the area we harvested corn from this bed. There's soybeans still in this bed, just to help put some nitrogen in the bed. Over here we have the 2 beds of kidney beans, and they're starting to get, with the weather turning like this right now, and sorry for all the weeds in here. We tried putting our living paths in here, and they're down there, but I think we're going to go back to weed mats again. But anyways, the kidney beans are doing pretty well, hidden down in here. All the grasses are going to seed right now, real pain in the fanny. This is the bed where the jalapeno peppers were. Thea harvested those and got those canned. You'd see, this actually shows up pretty well. So here's some of the white clover down here and some of the chamomile. I just wish it had taken off a bit better than it has in here, but it is what it is. And this is where the russet potatoes were, and so the cover crop's doing pretty well here. We'll walk around a little bit more here. Our black-eyed Susans. Lots of our lemon balm has spread out here as well. You really want to put your mints and your lemon balm in places that you don't worry about them really taking over and all. Otherwise, they could be a real pain in the fanny. Again, more of the scarlet red runner beans. And it looks like there were tons of flowers on them the day before yesterday, but the flowers have really diminished a lot since having these cold days. Over here, the sweet potatoes. So I suspect as soon as we get our first frost, that's when I'll go ahead and harvest the sweet potatoes, and we'll see just how things turn out. I know people were saying, darn, all the tomatoes that I went ahead and I put out in the compost pile, and the soil's turning out beautiful out there. But here's the extra tomatoes that we put in, and my daughter's coming down tomorrow. She's a canner as well, so she's going to come down and harvest a whole bunch of these tomatoes here for canning. And we still have some more peppers over in here, plenty of parsley as well, and some weeds in here, but lots of tomatoes. And blackies over here. Whoop. More of the basil. Those are pretty flowers on the basil. Real pretty flowers. So we'll be doing more composting with more of the tomatoes, as you could see. are really doing great. For really cutting back on our gardens this year, we still have a bountiful supply of fresh fruit and vegetables. It's been fantastic. So that's about it for our garden update. It's just about the end of the season. I probably will do another one at some point in time before the snow flies. My goal is trying to get as many of these plants into composting, building soil. We've got quite a nice composting pile out back. Oh, the herbs are doing great as well. But trying to get the gardens closed up because there's still other projects I've got to get set around here before winter comes. So from a distance, there's the herb circle. But everything really still looks fantastic over there. I do have some weeds around the perimeter, but that's about it. So I hope everybody's enjoyed our season here. It's wrapping up rather. The weather's changing pretty significantly. Pretty happy with what we've gotten out of the gardens. Thea's first year being retired here, being home almost full time here, which has been really good. And this will give us an opportunity with Thea having a better insights as to what goes on here in the farm as well. So we can plan for next year to meet our needs and to hopefully do a better job advertising for the nursery as well. So I hope you folks are all staying safe and taking good care of yourselves. Really appreciate you watching the videos and giving us thumbs up and sharing them when you can. And thanks so much for watching, and have a super fantastic and safe day. Bye-bye now.